Go over here. The self-checkout is turned into they scan it for you and then you pay yourself. They're not letting anybody go through because they're worried about people stealing stuff. Thought I'd throw you a mini nugget here. Looks like Tesco in the UK, which is very similar to our Sam's Club and the Wholesale Club. You need a card membership for it. It's called Tesco. In Thailand, it's called Tesco Lotus. So this brand Tesco, originating in the UK, is going to start limiting the amount of purchases that you can make. Now, even though you have your card to go into their supposed paid-for club, they're trying to maintain limits and equality across buying. So when we saw in COVID, limit 2, okay, most people respected that, but then it came down to your son could get 2, your daughter could get 2, your wife could get 2, your husband could get 2, and then you had 8 for the family, provided everybody had a card. So it was 2 per card. So now what they're trying to do is prevent store runs by limiting the amount of goods you can buy per month, but they're also going to make it so you can't go to another store across town and then purchase from that store, because your purchase, whatever it was, 2, will be flagged as you've already purchased 2 in another store, even though you're in a different store, different duration, different time. Now, this is a pilot scheme for rationing, because currently they're saying that they're trying to prevent wholesalers from going in and buying, and then everybody needs to be able to buy the exact same amount. But it's starting with the carbon credits, which they're putting on all packages across the UK now, like 8.1 something of kg of, if you have like a ham sandwich, you know, you've seen that famous photo. I'll try to dig it up here. They're going to be labeling and marketing every single thing that you can consume with a carbon credit score with it. Now that has to go along and interface with this system. So it's going to be a few things right now, but they already talked about limiting meat purchases, egg purchases. This is the pilot program that will be implemented across most of, well, the rest of the UK for sure, but eventually it's going to drift over this way like a bad herbicide. Once they start limiting you, you can only buy this much per month. Then what? Or if you get a total carbon allocation for an entire month, and like it was that sandwich is 8.1 kilograms, subtract it out. What happens if you run out of kilograms of food by the end of the month, like halfway through, and you've already burned through your like 1,000 kilograms or whatever? This goes beyond universal basic income. This goes beyond like EBT. Think of it like that way. So EBT allows you to purchase, but this is going to limit what you can purchase based on the amount of kilograms of CO2 emitted from the production of that food. Cheeses, dairies, meats, poultry, these kind of things are on the bad list. So they're going to start limiting that right now. Buy limits are being pushed across Tesco. So there's a call out to boycott Tesco stores in the UK here. And if you followed along with any other videos I've done, also the facial recognition, and you have to agree to get photographed before you go into the stores. Then there was that big pushback of people going, okay, GDPR laws in Europe and UK, you can't use your store image without, or you can't use your physical image without signing off. So they would go to the desk after the purchase, said, I want every single bit of footage that you have from your store with me, and I need you to delete it right now. You have 24 hours, and every 24-hour delay was a certain amount of money you had to pay everybody back. So they started to flood the stores with this, and then suddenly it disappeared, and we haven't heard a whisper of it since. The Fed's out of options, rate cuts, money printing, balance sheet reversals. They call it policy, but it's really panic. This is the end game economics, where hope replaces discipline and the illusion of control finally breaks. They're not cutting rates because things are strong. They're cutting rates because the system is cracking. The labor market's stalling. Confidence in the dollar is fading fast. For decades, the Fed built a house of paper. Now they're striking the match that could burn it down, leaving you to pay the price. Every cycle ends the same. Bubbles, bailouts, and broken retirements. That's why smart investors are moving to what's real. Gold and silver. When's the last time you actually held the wealth you've spent your life working for? My friends at Noble Gold Investments have been helping Americans move from paper wealth into real, tangible assets. Numbers on a screen can disappear, but physical gold and silver, that's lasted through every single crisis in history. Go to 2030gold.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's 2030gold.com. Click on that link in the description box below and discover how easy it is to protect your future. And for this holiday season, when you open a qualified account with Noble Gold Investments, you'll receive 10 1-ounce commemorative silver holiday coins, limited edition, and a joyful way to celebrate the season and invest in something real. So the Tesco boycott seems to be on, but they are going to try now the beginning of food rationing. It can't be everywhere at once. They always do the test to see how much it'll get pushed back. Like those license plate readers and whatever it was in London, they had the crew that would go around and continually destroy those. They actually finally gave up of putting that, $12.50 reader when it snapped your license plate. Plus, it tried to take vehicle emissions by some chemical analysis as you drove by this thing. But again, there could have been leftover, exhaust from another car that combined with yours to give a higher rating. And then you got flagged for this, for an emission over the target, as well as a surcharge on top of the entering the city surcharge. They tried that, but so many hundreds of thousands of cameras got literally taken down with ankle grinders and silly putty stringy stuff. And they'd blocked all the cameras and did a lot of blocking in and boxing in of the trucks who were with the cameras. Like they went bumper to bumper. Those guys couldn't even get out. And that seemed to work as public nuisance to remove the nuisance from the public. So how will it go with Tesco? It seems like they're past even caring about the dollar amounts, because you're just going to get funded or some kind of stipend from the government for their trouble. So even if they lose, let's say 100 million in revenue, the government's going to pick it up and still going to run with these programs. That's the whole thing about corporations. They've tricked us into believing that is so the most important thing is the bottom dollar shareholders, the sort of thing. But in reality, they're gatekeepers, they're movers of policy. They do what government tells them. They get the subsidies, and life continues on as they push these changes to the public. You might think, oh, well, the boycott will work. It will to a point. It's not about trying to remove the money out. It's trying to gauge the public sentiment. Are they going to push back? Because please remember, at the end of COVID, the reason COVID stopped is because everybody started to see through the nonsense of it all. Why are we standing apart? There's not bodies in the streets everywhere. And a lot of people started to question that. So by the end of 2022 into 23, people were like, oh, this is ridiculous. And started really getting a lot of pushback at the stores. And I think they were gauging this and like, we've run the illusion as long as we could. Mission accomplished. Store hours closed, as my co-host, Ransom Godwin, on our Thursday night radio show always talks about. The stores that used to be 24 hours have shifted into open 12 hours, closed 12 hours. Like the whole 24-hour world we used to know completely dissolved. Now you think that they would get into the bottom dollar and people would complain, right? But it didn't. So again, they got their subsidies. Everybody's back. No more 24-hour stores. Everything's moved to robotics. And I have a couple pictures of going into BJ's the other day, shocked. Spent $128 on $20 worth of groceries, but then at the same time, going through the aisles with these cameras were robot sticks that were doing inventory. So there's another 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 jobs. So we were running through the store trying to find Dettol. It's like a disinfectant cleaner. It was only like one worker just running up and down trying to do as much as they could so they wouldn't get fired. There's probably only 10 people in the whole store. You're talking like a Sam's Club or a Walmart, or like just like 10 people. So the more phase out there is of humans, the more control there will be of the goods you're going to be able to receive and go out and check out yourself. Now, what was manned were the self-checkout counters. They weren't letting anybody squeak by with the thing. Checkout counters, they had 4 clerks there. Come on, if you didn't have a big bag or a big basket of stuff, big push cart, come over here. The self-checkout is turned into, they scan it for you and then you pay yourself. They're not letting anybody go through because they were worried about people stealing stuff. So the act of change that we're receiving now, we're in the midst of it again. Now, I am absolutely saying unequivocally the digital rationing cards and the beginning of rationing is being tested in the UK. It's not so much about rationing in the traditional sense where World War II and we couldn't make butter, we couldn't get our rubber from Indonesia, that kind of rationing. They've kept the same terminology, but they're moving it into CO2 usage rationing, but still calling it rationing. There's going to have to be a different definition for this. It'll be CO2 usage clause or something. But rationing, I think, is the wrong word to use now. It's forced reduction of consumption based on CO2 output in that process to create the food stuff. So maybe we could say we've entered the era of control over what you can eat, the type of foods you can eat, the quality of foods you can eat, and if you're even going to be allowed to eat. Thanks for watching. Hope we got something out of the video. vni.life/civilization. Check out Trim Rocks, Burn, Boost, and Balance. Looking for something to help you with your dietary goals moving forward outside of being restricted on food during this phase of our, shall we say, economic winter? That link is in the description box below. I do thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.